What's going on, Internet? Sean here with my friend Jordan. Boy,
So-
it's been a while since we've done one of these.
I know.
And welcome to another edition of After the Movie. We just got done watching Saw X.
X,
That's
baby.
right.
X-Men Saw crossover, JK.
Yeah, X gonna give it to you. So we had Fast X this year, and we have Saw X this year. Isn't that fantastic? Although technically that'd be the 11th entry in the Fast and Furious franchise if we count Hobbs and Shaw. But
Oh, who could forget Hobbs and Shaw?
that's right. It's pretty wacky, just like the movie we saw today. Literally, no pun intended. Saw. I mean, this series is funny. Like
They're just trolling at this point. I respect it.
The Saw franchise. One of the things about it, it's like every movie kind of like sort of ends the same way. It's just some wacky twist, and then like the Saw theme music starts kicking in, and they just keep creating like this crazier and crazier timeline and continuity. Like they just keep like adding new things to it, and I'm like, this is so like out of control, like insane, and just trying to think about like how the hell John Kramer Jigsaw like is able to make all these crazy traps and that in such a short amount of time.
Well, when you've done it for 10 years, I guess you're just a pro at it. So,
Right. I mean, some of them just get so funny though. Like, how do you get the supplies? How do you do all this? Some of them are just so like unsurvivable too. Like, I mean, even the movie they kind of point out like the hypocrisy of Jigsaw, where it's just like, no, stop, this is really bad. It's like, I don't know, like. What did you think of Saw X? I actually enjoyed it quite a bit.
I thought this
was one of the better ones in the series.
Probably one of the best. Probably top 3 Saw for sure. No, this was good. Like, for a 10th movie series, right? You usually kind of expect crap at the end, right? Especially for horror, like you've seen Jason. What's the 10th
Jason
one?
X.
Jason, yeah.
Well, we have a lot of. We have Fast X, Jason X, Saw X. Jason X is still like, I don't know, like, because Fast X was really funny thanks to Jason Momoa, but like this one is pretty
No
funny.
X Star Wars yet though. Thanks to Last Jedi killing it.
Don't worry, you're gonna get it.
Well, I guess if you want to count the other ones.
You're gonna get an episode.
No episode 10. No episode 10, baby.
Yeah, but anyways, so Saw X it's set after the events of Saw 1, but before the events of Saw 2. Trying to follow the timeline of the Saw franchise and just...
Don't do it. Just enjoy it. You don't
just try to enjoy it. I mean, there's still some other lingering plot threads I'm sure they'll explore in whatever sequels, but I mean, we know John Kramer died in the third movie, and like somehow he kept going on all these crazy, wacky adventures that they just keep writing plots around that we weren't previously aware of. Like, I mean, it just keeps going and going and going, and that to me is part of like the funny like comedy with it all. It's just like, let's just keep going. I mean, Tobin Bell. This is the first entry in the series where he is solely kind of like the main protagonist of the film. And I think that's what makes this film one of the better, top 3 for sure.
He goes full face turn in this movie for pro wrestling fans. He goes full non-pro wrestling fans. He goes good guy in this movie.
Oh, I know. He is clearly made out to be like the anti-hero.
Like, you're rooting for him in this movie. Like,
right, because the people he deals with are genuinely like the most awful like people imaginable. They there
is no sympathy for any of these people.
There's no sympathy for any of them whatsoever. And these are people who like take terminally ill patients and just rip them off for money. So you're just like, fuck them. Yeah, you're dead. Like, they just...
And then, like, the lady, too, like, they really go out of their way to make it,
her
like,
just the
she's
most
a manipulator
person imaginable. Like, they go to, like, extreme lengths to try and, like, disguise these, like, you know, like, to try and rip these people off, if you will, for this sort of thing. But, like, some of it, like, when you try to think about it, like, some of the conveniences that sort of happen, like, John Kramer's, like, obviously, like, this is set before he dies, and he's seemingly giving a chance, like, he's giving a piece of hope that he's finally going to survive. Like,
he meets the guy at cancer therapy.
That's right, and the guy apparently was a plant this whole time to casually just bump and run into him, like, hey.
Much like Breaking Bad, you know.
Right. Yeah. So, with that whole thing, and then, like, he goes to Mexico or whatever, and he seemingly has this operation done, but they don't even have, like, the decency to, like, shave his head or anything like that. So they conned him like pretty badly.
Yeah, they have
and
a whole
he is just like, all right, I'm going to call up
to.
Amanda and I'm going to call up Hoffman. Because like I said, this is set in the past, if you will, before those characters bit the dust. And we're gonna put these people through the ringer, if you will. And the traps he has are so utterly like ridiculous at this point. Remember the simplicity of like Saw 1, where it's just you're chained.
Saw your foot off.
Just saw your foot off. That seems tame. Like, it's just they just keep getting more and more extreme. And like I just kept laughing because I'm like, this is so violent, but it's like, this is okay, come on. Like the traps, they make them so unwinnable at this point. Like one girl has it pretty easy where she's kind of like chained in handcuffs. She has to just kind of like
break her
basically
arms.
like misery her hands and like a foot. But then you have like this other guy's like, oh yeah, why don't you saw open your head and like pull your brain out?
And you got 3 minutes to do it.
You have 3 minutes to do it. Like, come on.
Yeah.
I mean, like, Dr. Gordon and all that, they were trapped there, like, the whole movie, basically, and they have all this time to kind of, like, get through stuff. Like, that seems so tame and so easy compared to the insanity of some of these traps. And I'm like, how does he, like, get the money to do all this stuff? How does he get the supplies?
He's an architect.
Right, but, like, he designs the stuff and creates this huge elaborate things in this warehouse in, like, a matter of weeks. I mean, thought he only had, like, months to live. Like, it's insane how he's able to pull all this stuff off, like, as quickly as he does. But, like, that's... You kind of have to just accept it. It's so ridiculous, but it's also kind of funny. And
it is a Taco Bell movie for sure, because, yeah, there are conveniences in here. Like, same thing, too, right, where he finds out he's been scammed. Like, they just didn't shut the instructional DVD off. Like, why would they even have that in the first place if it's just a scam? Why wouldn't they just completely blank his anesthesia out? Why couldn't they just shave his head so it looks like they did surgery? These are good questions, so don't think too hard about them and just enjoy the movie because it's all
you kind of have to like accept it. Yes, I mean this is set in the past, and Tobin Bell, like at least his age, like it kind of works. I mean, he's been playing the same character for 20 years now, and because he was like already an old man, it's a little bit noticeable. He looks more older here than he did in some of the other Saw films. I mean, they didn't give him my favorite flashback bit. I mean, it's become a meme, is where he's just like, instead of de-aging, they just put the backwards hat on him. I debated wearing a backwards hat in this video, but then like I just left. I'm like, oh wait, I forgot my hat, but like just for the flashback portions. But I mean, that would have been kind of funny if they had him wearing that, but. Yeah, like I said, the strength of this movie is Tobin Bell. Like he's allowed to like with him as the protagonist and the angle that they go with and the people that he has to go up against. Like you do root for Jigsaw in a way. Like he's become sort of the Punisher in a way, like more anti-hero. But I mean, we don't kill people. Oh come on, give me a break. I mean, look at the stuff you're putting him through.
Well, the last one, I mean, literally someone had to die, right? It was a 2-on-1, challenge.
Right? Yeah,
so. I don't want to spoil it, but...
Right, we'll spoil it, but it gets pretty ridiculous. And of course, like every Saw movie, like I mean, this one kind of ends a little bit differently, but sort of ends the same way as like most of these Saw films. There's always gonna be some crazy last minute twist of just showing events that, honestly, like a lot of the stuff, like you just kind of expect some ridiculous thing at this point, and but it's like also kind of funny. Like you look forward to them.
Really like too. We actually saw Jigsaw play one of his own games in this movie.
Right. That was something a little bit differently. But I think part of the issue with something like Saw X right now is we've already like it's a midquel, right? And with midquels, like the suspense isn't really there because I inevitably know where it's going to go. This actually would have been good to like have after the events of like Saw 2. Like this, or I mean, this is after the first one. Like this would have been interesting to have like as the third Saw movie, or maybe if they kept Jigsaw alive.
It's probably better than Saw 3. So.
Well, it definitely is better than pretty much most of the Saw films. I mean, the first one's up there near the tippy top because it's the first one, and when it's a very simple movie. It's not as gory as like some of these other ones though, like and just a crazy.
This was definitely a pretty gory movie, I feel.
Right.
Not for the squeamish.
But like this one, I mean, a lot of it is actually like the trap stuff kind of happens at the end. That's what you expect, but a lot of it's kind of spent with just John Kramer kind of dealing with like his brain tumor and cancer and all that stuff like leading up to it, and it's taken like a lot more seriously, although there is some like kind of funny bits in there where he sees some guy who's about to steal stuff and he just kind of like imagines putting him through like this really sadistic trap, the eye one that you see like on the poster, which kind of is just in his head. So yeah, like I mean, this guy's a pretty like messed up dude. I think my favorite part is where one person like kind of points out to like him and Amanda's like, this is really fucked up. You people are really sick. It's like, oh, but are we as sick as these people? I mean, you're pretty messed up to be like torturing people like this in this regards, but he still has his moral code. And it's still pretty wacky, but
he's pretty funny too in this movie.
Right.
He has some good one-liners.
There's some good one-liners. There's some. I mean. I just started like laughing through a lot of it because I'm just like, this is so ridiculous. But I mean, I do enjoy going to see like Saw movies. I mean, I've seen the last 3 in theaters because like before that I just like didn't really like I was a lot younger when some of them were coming out, so I didn't really go like try and see
Tender age of 12, I think, when the first one came out, or 11. Yeah.
God, we were like young.
Yeah, we were like elementary school when these came out. So
God, like we were like, series has been going on for 20 years. I remember when the first Saw came out, and like everyone was talking about the scene where some guy has to saw off his own foot. Boy, wasn't that tame. Now we had some lady who has to like slice off her leg, then stick like a vacuum in her leg
and suck
out the bone marrow. Why she doesn't just use her leg that's on the ground and just do that is beyond me. But she only has 3 minutes to do it. We give them a chance to live. Bullshit.
Yeah, I mean, because they were teasing it too, right? Like, these guys got close to beating the challenges. But
right, but they gave them, like, no time to do so.
Got, like, another 30 seconds, they would have beat it even, but...
Right, but it's, like, 3 minutes to saw off your own leg. Like, I mean, Dr.
It's physically
Gordon...
difficult to do.
Right, because you're just like, like, how they don't pass out from, like, I don't know. Or, here, we're going to have you, like, buzzsaw your brain... and like
pull your own brain out and just not passing out. Like I just don't believe like that's like physically possible. But
yeah, like I said, like
don't think about it.
Some of those traps, I'm like, if somebody else had to do it to someone else, then okay. But that some of these traps just get so ridiculous within these movies. It's like, oh, come on. Like at least some of the other ones felt like there's some in the past that it felt a little bit more completable, but like this one was just so off the wall wacky that it became pretty funny.
Yeah, a couple other things too. I absolutely love the father-daughter scenes between John and Amanda. They're like, they kill the first person, right? And John's like, you know, I believe in you. You can continue this operation. They're like these like funny. I think it's kind of like a troll, honestly. They put these in here
right.
for
Like they try to add like, I mean, the stuff with Jigsaw, there is the sympathetic angle with him, and Tobin Bell plays him very well. This is probably because he's allowed to like really like show more emotion this time around than because he's the protagonist. We're not. I mean, we get to see him more so outside of like the plotting of stuff, like kind of like, you know.
Yeah, the first half hour of this, there's almost no
carnage
other than the little gore scene they keep you
right. It takes a bit to kind of get to that. I mean, this is a pretty long movie. It's almost like 2 hours long. But I think
feel like it.
Right. I think putting the focus pretty much entirely from like John Kramer's perspective, like made this a much better film because he is the most interesting character in this franchise. Yeah, you still have people like Amanda and then,
Amanda's back in the show.
And then there is kind of a brief Hoffman appearance, I should say, because I mean it's kind of expected because it's set more so in the past.
And good sequel bait.
And yeah, some sequel bait here. I'm like, I don't know, like where are they gonna fit like movies left? I mean, it's kind of like the Insidious thing where they killed off Lynn Shay in the first movie, but they still kind of want to utilize her, so they utilize her as like a ghost of sorts. How they keep finding there's literally like no like time periods like left at this point. It's like the timeline is pretty much like we've number crunched literally everything. Like where else is there to go?
Listen,
I'm sure some lingering plot threads from like Saw the final chapter and Jigsaw and Spiral. I guess that's really all that's kind of left to do.
Yes, if you want to sit there and calculate the timeline, yes, I'm sure you can poke holes in the dates and whatnot. But why? What's the point of that?
That's part of the fun with Saw is they
Don't
keep
do
like
that.
retconning like in more stuff and they just keep adding to it, like trying to like I feel like it's that Always Sunny meme where it's Charlie Day and he's got all the little like lines and that and this little graph and he's trying to like, you know, do his like pointy thing and like figure out like where everything's like linked to, and that's the Saw franchise, and I kind of love how like ridiculous it just keeps getting. But I had fun with this one. I mean, it was entertaining. It was a pretty good Saw film. I like this one. I even like Spiral, and I liked Jigsaw because Jigsaw was a little bit more comedic, and it actually like the way it was shot felt like a CBS crime thriller. But this one, like I said, just it's got some like more serious and kind of emotional stuff, but it still also like gives you the Saw stuff you're looking for. If you're a little squeamish, this may not be for you. Like the eye vacuum one, I thought was pretty messed up, but I'm still just like the brain surgery on himself was just,
even I got a little tense in that one. I don't really
that was a pretty tough one to like watch. I'm like ugh, that's a little like messed up, but it's like also so like wacky. Like, I mean, come on, how is somebody supposed to like, okay, your leg you can see your brain, how you're not passed out?
Hey, let's just roll with it, baby.
I was like, this is like an AEW like John Moxley thing where he's like, oh, let me just stab my leg with bleed, but like come on, like it just I mean, I just have to like accept like this is so unrealistic and so ridiculous.
And
but,
actually, the one guy survives the challenge too. That's kind of a rarity in these movies.
oh yeah, somebody actually survives a challenge, which I'm like, oh.
But he might have did that on purpose too, because he pumps that guy for all his information afterwards too.
Right, and,
which you see later in the movie.
Right, and like there may be some other characters surviving things. Surprisingly, like some of the most awful people potentially may be alive or not by the end of this thing.
And there was a good post-credit scene too, which really kind of wrapped up the story's plot to a degree. And
right.
Looked like a great ending. And the last line too, me killing you is the last thing you should be worried about right now. Like, ooh, that's good stuff right there, pal.
Yeah, some pretty wacky, funny stuff. But hey, we're in October. Definitely need the Saw movies out there again.
Yeah.
At least they put like effort forth into this one.
Unlike The Last Jedi, who just gave up, after 8 or 9 and 10, whatever they're gonna crap out coming up,
Yep. Yeah, but I've given up on that series. So, but anyways,
we will never give up.
No, I gave up. I'm not watching the shows.
Oh yeah, that's true. I haven't given up on those. I've given up on those too, but
exactly. If a movie comes out, maybe I'll check it out.
We will never give up on ripping on them.
Right. So, but yeah, of course, always got.
How would you score it, Sean?
I'll give this one 7 Jigsaws. Like for a Saw movie, it's gonna be it's one of the better Saw films, like within the top 3 for sure. I can't say this is like a 10 out of 10 movie, so I'm just gonna go with a solid 7 out of 10.
I'm gonna give
7 out of X.
I'm gonna give this an 8.1. It's a horror movie. How high is it really ever gonna score? If you like these kind of movies, no, you'll enjoy this for sure. I mean, yeah, it's not for everyone because obviously gory and morbid, and you have to kind of have a warped sense of humor to enjoy it, which I even make fun of in it. But if you do like those things, you'll certainly like this film.
Yeah, it's exquisite.
It's exquisite.
Yeah, it's excellent.
Excellent.
They go a little extra with this one.
It's a little extreme.
I mean, you got to examine everything about it.
Where's Professor X in this movie?
I really experienced something special with this one.
It's a lot. It's too many X points.
All right, I guess I'm an expert on them.
Yeah, God.
So
what? Maybe they could make the Wolverine cross for their graves.
I don't know. Like, what are we gonna do? Like everything. Like when you get to 10, you have to do the X. But
I guess we could do 11 when the sequel comes out, right?
Right. I mean, it's gonna happen. I'm sure.
I mean, it made money.
Yeah, it's already made its money back. I mean, the Saw franchise is one of it's like the top 2 highest grossing horror franchises of all time. The Conjuring series has made more money overall, but Saw has made quite a bit of money.
I mean, it's certainly better. Like, I know we ripped on Star Wars, but like Jason, Halloween, like it's certainly better than most of those sequels, right? Freddy Krueger, yeah.
I still like. I like I said, I'm more of a Halloween fan than I am of a Saw fan, and same with like an Elm Street fan. Friday 13th, like there's some pretty wacky stuff in there. Like that series has not reached its full potential. I feel like. Whereas Saw, I feel like we've kind of tapped. Like Halloween kind of reached its peak in some things.
Busta Rhymes, baby.
God bless Busta Rhymes to that movie.
Yeah, no, it's nowhere near that
Nightmare
level of silliness.
Nightmare on Elm Street has some really quality stuff in there. Like the first movie, New Nightmare, Dream Warriors is really solid. I have a great time with Freddy vs. Jason. Like that movie.
Come on. This movie is objectively higher quality than like some of those ridiculously bad sequels that we like to laugh at, but
no, this one's like I said, it's better than a lot of the other Saw films, and it's better than a lot of like other like of those films within those franchises.
And the other horror movie we reviewed this year, so
yeah, I'm trying to remember what other like.
What was the one we did in January? That was really
Fear.
Good? Yeah, it's a lot better than Fear.
Yeah, Fear sucked. This is I don't know like.
And it's better than Fear.com too. We won't.
Oh yeah, that's right.
We don't need to go down these rabbit holes.
What other horror movies have I seen? Honestly, like I said, this is one of the. Might be the best one I've seen this year. I'd have to like really think about it because we haven't had like the strongest year in horror. I mean, we had what else? We had Scream 6, which was pretty wacky. I haven't seen Exorcist Believer yet, but I don't think that one's going to be that great. I've been watching the entire Exorcist franchise.
Yeah, we'll say that for the Exorcist review, Sean.
Right.
There's a plug for the next review.
Right, Exorcist Believer is definitely the next one I got to cover. I also got to try and see Expendables 4 if I can.
No, we don't need to see Expendables 4.
Yeah, I do. It's just like I've seen every Expendables movie in theaters.
All right, we're ranting here. What else?
But anyways,
you got on this?
there's nothing else to say. Like this has not been the absolute strongest year for horror. I mean, I enjoyed Nun too, but I'm trying to think of like any like maybe I have to go back and look at the videos, like which horror movie like really stood out to me.
You know what you gotta remember to do? You know what you gotta remember to do, Sean, above everything else?
What?
Like and subscribe to this channel.
That's right. Like and subscribe to the channel.
Yeah, shameless plug right there.
That's right. We excel at plugs. But anyways, thank you so much for...
Sayonara.
Sayonara, everyone.
Thanks for watching.
As always,
Last Jedi sucks.
Take care now. Bye-bye then. We'll see you all in the next fucking video. Bye-bye.